There is a lot of class changes and there is dogs that are hounding outside my door all day and I don't know what to do. I'm gonna go insane. They are not my dogs. Sometimes I wonder who let the dogs out. Who. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the new class changes we got forming around for this patch that is gonna come live tomorrow, I think. One thing they put in the game, I didn't know this was a thing at all, by the way. They put this thing called Poacher's Cave. It is basically a dungeon portal, and if you get inside it, you can get to from Searing Gorge to Burning Steps and vice versa. You can like skip going through Blackrock Mountain, so you don't have to go to that carnage anymore. And they reduced the cooldown. I guess they made it so each side has a different cooldown, so you can only use it twice an hour. I don't know, that's a little odd. I never heard about it. How come nobody talks about it? When I was complaining about the PvP event ruining the game, how come nobody said, oh, you can use this thing? Nobody uses it. Not even the people that should shield it. I mean, it's cool. It's cool, I guess. I am not gonna use it. I mean, you got the flight path anyway. Like, this is only for leveling characters. That's why nobody uses it. I don't know, I just thought it was a little cool. Anyway, let's talk about the big boys. There is a lot of threat retuning, which I think is a little odd. Now, Boomkins do have a lot of threat issues. Okay, I am a tank and I've seen it firsthand. Boomkins do struggle with threat. As you can see right here, Moonkin form is now gonna decrease all their threat by 30%. That is absolutely huge. Now in Trash Pools, I have seen our Boomkin pull aggro a couple times, and I guess that's not gonna happen anymore. They have this habit of overcorrecting everything. Did it really need a 30 freaking percent threat reduction, my brother in Christ? Why is it always 30% reduction? Why don't you why is it never 10% or 20%? They go from having a mild threat issue to having no threat whatsoever in like a single patch. It's crazy. I am very worried that in Classic Plus they are gonna try to get rid of threat at all. And that would get me very mad, okay? Threat is like a huge mechanic. Getting rid of threat without putting anything that is a lot different in the game is gonna make it awful. That's what happened in Rato the Lich King. Rato the Lich King is infamously one of the most boring expansions to tanking. So I tend to take this kind of threat reduction across all the classes as quite a damage to tanking, and I do not like that. Very well, for the Hunter, the TNT rune, that's the rune that Survival uses, is gonna increase Explosive Trap initial damage and Immolation Trap periodic damage based on 25% of the Hunter's attack power. What? That's a half nerf! They went from 50% to 25%! God! It also now uses the higher of melee and ranged attack power. It was always melee attack power. Well, this could be functionally a buff for some people, but God! 25%? I don't know, man. I think when Blizzard cooks, the fire just gets out of hand every time. Oh, dude. Do you really have to cut in half the scaling? Very well, for the Mage, they fixed an issue where the Mage Healer 2-piece Molten Core set bonus was not working properly. The benefits of Temporal Beacon will now work properly during the last 6 seconds of its duration when using this set. Now, if we take a look at the Healer set, it makes your Temporal Beacons 20% longer. I do not know how you can possibly mess the code of this app. It's like one line of code, but it's fixed, so I guess that's cool. They also fixed an issue where the healing from Mage generation was not increased by the effects of the Mage Arcane Blast. As you can see, Arcane Blast is supposed to buff it by 15%, so this is a huge buff. I mean, it's a bug fix, but it should make them a lot better. Now, the next patch notes I want to see is we deleted Mage Healers of the game. We stopped believing in this lie, and we're not going to mess with this again in Classic Plus, and we are very sorry. And if you can like get on your knees and beg for our forgiveness for inventing the Mage Healing, that would be awesome, guys. I don't know, like, I know you're busy, I know you gotta work on the new phase and stuff like that, but if you can find like the time to do that, I would appreciate it. It's about time we stop believing in this lie, guys. Okay, well, assuming that the Mage got deleted off the game, so we don't have to hear about him anymore, let's take a look at the Paladin. Retribution Paladins gain 6% threat reduction per rank of the Vengeance talent, but this threat reduction is disabled while Righteous Fury is active. If we take a quick look at the Paladin, this right here is one of the most important talents a Paladin can get, which is basically 15% more damage. So what this means is, I think, according to the wording, I am not 100% on this, I think this means that every time they crit, they are gonna get a threat reduction. I got no idea how the threat of the Paladin is doing, but 15% threat reduction, that sounds a lot more reasonable, doesn't it? Holy crap, 30% threat reduction for the Boomkin. Like, who thought of this? How did you get that number? I would love to know how you come up with that number. Like, it's very clear they just pulled it out of thin air. They were not doing 30% more threat than other classes. Now, this is a funny change. They made it so the Homunculi are not going to be chasing other targets as often. Well, the problem is that in dungeons nowadays, when you drop Homunculi, they will run around and they will start pulling stuff. And I cannot even tell you how many times we wiped because a Homunculi in Ubers just ran around and pulled the entire room where Jed Rune Watcher is. You know, the guy that drops that twig that every freaking caster wants? Well, I have seen personally Homunculi go inside that room and for some reason they just go chain pulling mobs and mobs and mobs and mobs and killing us. I got no idea why that happens, but it happens. Now we also got a change for the rogue. The 6-piece set can no longer trigger incorrectly from Sebaceous Poison. As you can see right here, the 6-piece can only trigger from finishing moves, so I got no idea why a poison can trigger a finishing move. That's a funny oversight. I would love to look at the code or why that happens. And finally the warrior, Konsu, who should now always pick the correct lines where players are victorious. I have never seen this bug. Then again, I have never gotten Shockwave yet. It just takes too long, man. I don't even need it. I am gonna get it at some point, okay? I promise, but god damn, dude. Have you seen that quest line? I just looked at the page in Wowhead and I got mad. I am not gonna do it. I guess I should go do it now, eh? Anyway, it turns out that not only content and not only classes are a buggy mess, set bonuses are now a buggy mess too. I thought that was kinda funny. Please do not get rid of threat in the game. Please do not, like, if you're gonna do anything in Classic Plus, please don't get rid of threat. I am gonna get so mad. What are you gonna replace it with? What do you even put in Classic? This is not retail. You don't have 16 buttons for a tank to press. What are the tanks gonna do if threat is not a problem anymore? They're just gonna be like all game. They're gonna be like this all the day. I swear to God, man, 30%. Subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.